What's up, internet world? This is Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, here with another Transformers masterpiece review. Today we're going to be reviewing this figure. This is all known to me from a buddy of mine. The Masterpiece MPM 7 Bumblebee. This is Bumblebee from the new Transformers movie, the one that hasn't come out yet. The one that's coming out this December. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to a Transformers movie for the first time since the second Transformers movie. Of course, I look forward to the first one too, but you know, and the first one was pretty good, and then the second one I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be great too, and then it came out and I was like, eh. And then the third one's coming out, I was just like, I don't know, and it was eh. And then the fourth one I was like, and it was eh. And then the fifth one I was like, and it was eh. But from the previews and trailers and whatnot, this Bumblebee movie looks like it might actually be really good. So I'm looking forward to it, actually. But this is the Masterpiece, the movie style Bumblebee from the new movie, and I like it. The character design from the new movie has been much more cohesive than the older one. It's been a lot of, you've got this more like rounded kind of, you know, armor plating look, not just like a whole bunch of like jumbles and gears and stuff like the old one was, you know. I do like the smoother design of it a lot better. I've mentioned that I have never really been a huge fan of the Michael Bay aesthetics, and this pulls away from that enough that it's more you know, likable to my palate. Back is a bit kibbly, but you know, we can deal with it. Everything's got to go somewhere, right? But yeah, this Masterpiece figure actually turned out to be a huge surprise, and just, I mean, I think this is probably their best Masterpiece movie figure, and maybe even one of their best Masterpiece figures at all. Just really great figure. But let's drop right into some articulation. So his head is on a ball joint, so it moves side to side and up and down. He does, of course, rotate freely, but yeah, he's got his arm will go all the way around. He's got, you know, this stuff here that kind of blocks a full motion, which is fine, really. Goes out all the way, goes out actually a bit more than all the way, because he's got this little bit here on his shoulder that flaps around. I don't know exactly why, except I think to make his arm go up more. Because in the trailers you see it's just like that. It doesn't really flex out. So I think that's just for the toy design. He's got a bicep swivel right here, just above the elbow. Elbow bends. Bends backwards a little bit. Bends forward just a tad over 90 degrees. He does have a pivot here at the wrist and a swivel. His hands are pretty decently articulated. He's got a pivot here at the thumb and a joint on this part of the thumb. His back two fingers are all one piece, but they're molded individually. And then his forefinger has got a joint at the base and a joint at the first knuckle. So he's got a little bit more articulation than the previous movie Bumblebee. In that the other two, his back two fingers are separate. He comes with a waist joint here. His legs will go quite a bit forward. on nice little ratchets. Bit back. They'll go out all the way. You've got like 115%, 120% Van Dam there. That's nice. He does have an upper thigh swivel. He's got, unfortunately, only one. He's got little detents in his knee. His knee will bend forward a little bit, but it only bends back one click. Maybe 45 degrees of postability there. That's a little bit disappointing, but well, actually no, come to think of it, he's got that, plus he has another joint in here that clicks. There we go. There's your 90 degrees-ish of postability. This panel here feels like it's, I don't know if this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. I don't know. It feels like you want to grab this when you're bending that, and it doesn't feel like it wants to flex that way. But yeah, you can get 90 degrees, maybe even a little bit more out of that. That's kind of nice. Ankle does not go forward and back at all. It does go side to side quite a bit. And you've got some toe articulation here. But yeah, that's good there. In terms of die cast, he does have die cast content here. His toes, this little piece here. What else on him was die cast? I know he's got die cast in here. A couple bits of die cast in his chest. And I think that's it. So, I mean, he's got a little bit of heft, not like a huge amount, but just all in all, I think he looks pretty damn good. You know, in terms of accessories, he comes with 3 accessories. First is his battle blade of some sort. He can be the battle blade Bumblebee, and it's got little, like, I don't know if that's supposed to be Cybertronian or just some like weird glyphs of some sort printed on the blade. But it's got a tab right here that fits into a slot on his arm. So you can just stick that there just like that. Curl up his hand into kind of like a fist, and he's got some blade stuff going down. He also comes with this gun. Back my lights up a little bit so I can bring it and still have it lit. Gun has got, you know, silver paint apps. This is in black plastic, but it's silver paint apps, yellow paint apps on top. A little hard to see orange one down there in the middle. And the way this one works is you take his thumb and you fold the finger down like that, and you keep it out here. And then you extend out his hand, and then you kind of feed his hand. Oh, I'm about to sneeze, I think. Yeah, I'm about to sneeze. Yep, I think that was it. I lied. Excuse me. I'll try and edit that out if I remember to. Anyhow, so you feed his fingers into this hole here. And then you move his thumb and slide it into that little slot. And then there's a slot here on the back and a tab right on his wrist. And you fold that around and tab it into there. And now his like fist is integrated into the gun. And I think it looks really, really cool, actually. It's a fairly seamless way of integrating the gun and, you know, the hand into the gun. I think it looks pretty good. Even though the rest of his hand is still all visible here or whatnot. Now it looks like it's just part of the gun instead of looking like, oh, by the way, that's his hand. Well, yeah, but technically, but it looks like it's part of his gun. His third accessory is a optional battle mask. So we're going to open this part up here. Oops. And the top of his head just came off as I was just doing that. So you open this up, and then here's his Battle Max accessory. That fits right over his face. And then you close it up again. And that locks that in. And there he is. He's got, it's actually really cool looking. He's got like little like hexagons, like molded. So the eye panel, I mean, most of this whole front panel is actually molded in clear plastic. But the eyes are the ones that come through as clear. And you don't really see his molded eyes behind that. I mean, they're still there. Maybe if these were in lighter paint, you could probably see them. But yeah, so they've got this convex shape on the outside, and then it's molded with these little hexagons on the back side, so that you can like really see that come through. And it kind of looks like compound eyes. There you can see maybe possibly the little hexagons on the other side. It's cool. It's a cool technique, and I think it looks great. I think aesthetically actually makes more sense than the battle mask that the original Michael Bay version has got. But let's take this off and let's get him transformed up. By the way, we'll get to that in a bit. So for getting this guy transformed, oh, and I forgot to mention, this thing here is another option you can do, his hidden missiles, or as Dr. Doom would say, hidden missiles. And they don't do anything. They're just, little red paint apps on the die-cast plastic there. But anyhow, so to get him transformed up, first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on his legs. Yes, we're going to work on his legs. And so we're going to slide that up and untab. There's this die cast piece right here. We're going to unpeg that. That's going to allow this whole thing to hinge free. That's going to fold up in there. And then this piece here is going to fold up. And that is going to, we can unfold this piece here. There's a little tab right here that's built into his smokestack, his exhaust pipe. We're going to pull that off and plug that into that little hole. And this whole thing is going to come and swing out. There's a double joint that this armature is all connected to in here. And we're going to pull that out. We're going to flip this tire around, and that's going to clear up space so that we can move this around, and this kind of just maneuvers around there like so. And then this part folds back up. You've got his heel spur here. That's going to fold up like that. And then this is going to fold in like that. And that is his foot, basically. And so now we're going to do the same with the other side. So kind of pull all this back. This part is going to open up. Plug that in. Pull this out on the double joint. Pull out his foot, flip out the tire. That'll give us some space to flip all this around. Flip that piece in, flip that piece in. Ha 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 ha. I'm probably not doing anything the way I did before, but it just kind of all goes like that. This folds back up. This folds back up. And that is basically his legs right there. So now for his upper body, we're going to start on his backpack. We're going to disconnect this. This doesn't, well, it doesn't really peg in anywhere. It just kind of detents in there. It's going to let us pull all this out. And that's starting to look like the shell of a Volkswagen Bug. These panels are going to fold up. So he's got these like little like faux bumpers here. We're going to fold those down like that. We're going to put real bumpers on top of them. So the arms are going to, you're going to take this panel here and fold this out and then turn it around. So fold this out, turn it around. Now we're going to take these and we're going to pull them out a little bit to disconnect them. There's a peg in here that's going to connect them up. We just want to get that disconnected. And then we're going to take this, there's a joint down here. You can see it actually right here. We're going to fold them down on that joint. So I believe these fold all the way. Yeah, they do fold all the way around. Oh, there is a lot of, so one of the things I like about this figure is that it's got one of the more complex transformations we've put into a masterpiece figure yet. Unfortunately, it makes it a little bit challenging when it comes to getting all this transformed up. What I should have done first is actually take these and fold them out, and take this and fold that up. This is going to help get this stuff out of the way a bit, because then you can take these and extend them out on this joint. There's a whole series of joints in here. So now we can pull these arms around with that stuff out of the way. Let's turn these arms around so they're facing backwards. On these armatures that the arms are on, you'll notice that there are corresponding pegs. There's a peg and a tab here, and a tab and a peg here. We're going to pull these around. We're actually going to plug them in together. And this is going to be hard to see because it's like black plastic on black plastic on black plastic in a shadow, highlighted by yellow plastic all around it. But suffice to say, we have done that. Now, if you can see in here, this black piece here has got this little doohickey sitting out here, and then the die-cast piece that's on has got a notch cut out of it. We're going to turn both of these so that this black plastic part will fold up and fit in that notch. And that will allow the arms to fit in more flush against the legs now. So we're starting to get them into their final position. There's a little tab in here that's going to help us out. When we get this all, you'll see that there's the tiniest little peg on this gray piece on the foot. There's a slot somewhere behind in this gray piece that's on the arm, and that'll just kind of fit in there and keep that all. I mean, it's not the biggest tab and it's not the most secure fit, but it helps, and it really does help. All right, so now we're getting things into position. Now we're starting to cooking with gas. So now we're going to take these missile parts here. We're going to turn them on this really big, you can see it right here, this really big pin. Turn that 90 degrees. Turn that 90 degrees. And now we can start getting the rest of this to fit together a bit more. So we're going to put his tires up. There's a peg here that did peg into the arm. Now it's going to peg into this big old slot right here on the tire. And then this front panel will just plug into that to create that surface there. And we're going to do the same for the other side. Plug that into the big old ting. You're going to take these bumpers and fold them out, because the next big thing we're going to do with this is put this all down. But before that, we're going to take and we're going to fold this sucker up, and we want to put this tab underneath this panel, and then like all this is going to kind of fit together, but it's super confusing. So this tab is going to go under that, but then this little tab is the really difficult one. That's going to go underneath this panel, and this panel is just a pain in the butt at this point. So we're going to fold that in. We're going to kind of massage this around that panel. We're going to make sure that this panel is fully in place. I feel like I've done something wrong with the hands. Like every time I do this, I'm like, oh, that's not how the hands go. And I figure something out, and then I never remember it for the next time. All right, I'm going to try doing this, but with his hands open. And again, you know, you've got the arms into more or less the right position when they kind of fit into those that little tab I was talking about. That little tab right here fits in that little slot in the arm, the little slot that you can't ever see. All right, let's try this again. Pull that underneath that tab. Arrange it around the fitting of this tab. Oh, I forgot this part here. There we go. There we go. I think that's starting to fit in. So one of the figures that the fitting on it is like there's a whole bunch of parts in here, and they want to fit in a certain way, and if anything's out of alignment, you can still kind of mash it together. It's just, it makes it a bit difficult, and you spend a lot of time like cleaning it up and moving it around and massaging it into place and whatnot. And of course, because my camera phone is being dumb still, I've got a time limit on this. I gotta get this all wrapped up within just a couple minutes before it cuts off, and then I have to do extra work when I upload it, which I'm not like super afraid of extra work, but it's extra work. So now we're gonna take this and we're gonna plug all this into place. There's a couple big tabs. There's the little tabs up on the bumper. There's big tabs up by the hood, the bonnet, or whatever you want to call it. There's tabs right here on the back. And I think that's more or less it. Like, some of these tabs don't want to fit super securely, but then again, I've never really got them all to fit super securely. There he is in this Volkswagen Beetle mode. I do like that they've got this like orangish kind of discoloration going on over it. Makes it look kind of, you know, weathered and aged, which I'm sure is the intention. But it is kind of like, you can tell that this effect was applied individually and not with the pieces in this configuration, because there's no real solidarity between this panel, this panel, this panel. And this panel here is just missing it completely. So that's something. Last but not least, real quick before my camera cuts out on me, you take this, you fit that together. There's a little peg here. You can attach that onto there. And now this is your vehicle storage. Yay! This is the dumbest vehicle storage ever. But you just kind of peg it onto his, yeah, that's it right there. It's kind of dumb. But the rest of this figure is great. I really like it. I like the alt mode. It rolls well. It actually has a decent amount of, I mean, the clearance is like super tight, but it clears. And it's a great figure. I really like it. I really recommend it. I debated whether I was going to finish this video because it cut off at the 27-minute mark, just like I knew it would. And I was like, oh, I was already giving my closing thoughts. Maybe I don't need to do it. And I was like, no, I think I'm going to close out properly. So, and in closing, I think it's a fantastic figure. I actually feel that this is almost as good as their masterpiece Dinobot. Just the engineering is really great. It's a high quality figure. It looks good, feels good, transforms good, plays good. But it displays wonderfully as well. And I think that it, you know, I think that it does a really good job of capturing the essence of what I think a masterpiece figure should be, especially what I consider a movie masterpiece figure. Maybe not the best in terms of that. I don't know. For the movie masterpiece figures, I think that really, to make a fantastic movie figure, it needs to look just like a wonderful car in car mode and look absolutely nothing like a car in robot mode. And that's for the older Bayformer aesthetic. I don't know that it really fits as well for this one, because he does have a lot of really apparent car parts in his robot mode. I think probably actually the Bayformer that does that best is probably the Masterpiece Barricade. Has got like very little in terms of car parts in its robot mode. But I like this figure a whole lot. I'd be lying to you though if I told you that I'm not waiting for Legendary Toys to announce their own version, which is going to look just like this but have a better paint job. And sure enough, like 2 or 3 days ago, they showed it at something, and so we know that they are definitely making one. And so that's probably what I'm going to end up getting. But this one is certainly not bad. I just, you know, imagine this, and instead of this all being black plastic, it's like a dark gunmetal gray, you know, with like all of these greebly details are painted. By the way, I forgot to mention, so you can have his head like this and it fits just perfect. If you take and grab his head and yank on this here, this whole assembly comes out and you can fold his head in and then it slides up. This is actually the technical transformation. Like, you can have him in his movie accurate visible head syndrome mode like that, or you can put it like this and it's exactly, everything's exactly the same, just it hides his head. It's all up to you, personal preference. As MGO likes to say, it's your toy, do with it what you wish. But This is a fantastic figure. I recommend it. It's awesome. Thank you everybody for watching. Sorry for my camera issues. I'm just kind of dealing with it as I go. Try not to make 27-minute long videos, but sometimes transformation takes longer than I want it to, or sometimes I have too much exposition, something I need to get on my own case about, but whatnot. Feel free to leave it a like anyhow, because I'd really appreciate that. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you later. Have a good day.